Hi there, my name is Chris Smith and I wanted to talk to you today about learning to play a music instrument as an adult. I'm 61 years old and about 3 years ago, when I was 58, I started learning to play the saxophone. This is it. There we go. It's an alto saxophone and I picked this up from Play It Again. It's like a student saxophone, so it's called a Jupiter, that's the brand. I wandered in to Play It Again, saw Rob and Colin while I was in there, and I came home with this. There's pros and cons about learning to play a musical instrument as an adult, and I've got to say, for me personally, it's been an absolutely fantastic experience. So as I said, I've been playing now for about 3 years. When I first started off, I got a teacher, so one of my tips, the number one tip would be to find a teacher, because I think, especially with something like the saxophone, it's easy to make mistakes and to get bad habits. So if you find a teacher, even if you just have 3 or 4 lessons to get you started, that's a big deal for me anyway, so I would certainly recommend that. This might be one of the negative sides about starting off later in life. I find that if I'm having to concentrate hard on something, and normally if I'm learning a new tune or learning some scales or something like that, mentally I'm having to focus and concentrate on what I'm doing. And I find that quite tiring. After about half an hour of doing that, I start making mistakes and I sort of think, you know what, I've kind of achieved as much as I'm going to in this session. So what works well for me is doing 2 or 3 short sessions, like half an hour, 45 minutes a day, rather than kind of trying to squeeze in, 1 3-hour session in the evening, because I would find that, not very productive for me. The social side of it really, so I joined a beginners jazz ensemble, which sounds quite grand, but actually it's just a bunch of beginners learning to play jazz together, and that's a great way to meet people, like-minded people who've got a common interest to you, and it's also a great way to learn while you're enjoying it. It's not like a lesson as such, you're just playing. We've got a teacher who guides us and suggests things and helps us when we're stuck, but it's a much more social side to it. The other thing was, after about a year or so, I went along to a local pub which does a blues jam, and that was just absolutely fantastic, just a fantastic atmosphere. Blues is a relatively simple way of learning to play jazz or to play a saxophone. Obviously there's kind of rock blues as well as jazz blues, but at a very simple level, which these jams tended to be that I went to. And you can learn the blues fairly quickly and go along, play with other musicians in a great atmosphere. And what I found with Play It Again is that they're so supportive. At some point I'll want to upgrade my saxophone, and I know that Play It Again would be a great place for me to go, because I get great advice. And if you've got a particular model or type of instrument that you're looking for, if they don't have it, they'll go and find it for you. So I find Rob and Colin really helpful. As the saxophone needs servicing every year or so, just to make sure all the working parts, all the moving parts are working. And Colin does a great job of that for me as well. I hope that helps. If you've got any doubts about learning as an adult, I would just say cast them to one side and throw yourself into it.